just did a thing.
What'd you do?
I plugged my headphone into the Yeti so I can actually hear myself, and I
There
can
you
also hear
go.
you. I had to turn off voiceover, but
I
that
didn't think
is
about that.
the least of my worries.
I didn't think about doing that.
That is so nice. Not that I need to hear myself, but it's nice to have a monitoring kind of thing. Doug needs to show up.
He may not, and we're just gonna run if
Okay.
that's the case.
Unless he joins halfway through and goes, "Hi guys."
Well, we have the waiting room, so we can just cut in and.
Pop him in whenever.
Yep.
Cool.
Speaking of that, I figured I'd check. Nobody in the waiting room. All right. Taylor's chatting us from the Techopolis account. Welcome, Taylor.
Nice. Oh, we're live.
We are live.
Nice. Hello, everyone.
I mentioned that, and your thing had a message that came up saying we were recording and live. So,
Oh, well, I was doing things at that point.
Oh, it's, to be a
I was like,
podcaster.
oh, I just got to hit this dialogue and then I'm going to go back to what I'm doing.
Your computer will self-destruct if you press OK on this dialogue. Okay, I'm just going to press the button.
I'm busy. Ding. Boom.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
Well, all right. So we are going to go ahead and start the show. So let me do a count in and all the usual stuff and things. People on YouTube, welcome. We're glad you're here. Yes, we are live, Taylor says.
I know now. Thank you.
All right. So, are you ready?
I am.
It's going to be a small crew today.
Yep.
But hey, you know what? That's fine. At least there's two people here. There used to be just me.
Yep.
So, that's totally cool. And we'll have different people on each time. So,
yep.
All right. 3, 2, 1. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the iACast. All right. Today with me, we have, just Lauren Flinner.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, small group, but this is a pretty awesome episode. We are on episode 170 of the iACast. That's amazing.
That's nuts.
And editors, you will all thank me so much, at least post producers who make the show. Well, did you hear that? Not that loud of a peep-pop. I got a pop filter for my microphone, and not only is it a pop filter, but it's blue. It looks awesome. So,
We're moving
for
up in this world.
for 169 episodes of the show of people hating to edit my audio, hopefully this won't be as bad.
Hey, you know what? I started on an iPhone microphone, and poor Jason, he was like, Lauren, you're fine, but seriously, get a better mic.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Microphones are so interesting, and how you set things up in Zoom is interesting. In fact, I'm thinking, and it's not something we have to change right now, but I'm thinking that even though you have original sound on, you sound much better than you did. There's Zoom still has some weird noise cancellation stuff you have to turn off in the settings, and I kind of wish they would be like have a podcaster mode, where you could just like press this and it just like, okay, you know what you're doing. You
Yeah, like
have
have different sets for different, sound purposes.
right. And I mean, I know there's clean feed and all the other things, but there's just nothing as elegant and simple as Zoom, in my opinion.
I agree.
It's I just feel like Zoom is just that easy to work with. So that's, just my personal thoughts. Um So we've had one episode this year, and we're working on getting that out the door, and then we'll have this one out. But it's been a very busy beginning of the year in tech. It's crazy. I
Yeah, it
mean,
has.
we've already gotten Samsung stuff. We had CES, which I didn't really see anything super awesome from CES this year, but
Mm-hmm.
it's interesting just kind of knowing what we're getting. But Samsung released all of their events they call Unpacked. I don't know why. I kind of wish they would like name them all different things, like for different events. But
Get a little more creative, please.
right, it's like, okay, which Unpacked in 2021 did this phone come out at? And so we got new Samsung things and stuff. So that's kind of our main topic of discussion today. But we'll get to that in a bit. But we have a few other things to talk about, and we have some new stuff from Fantastical. They have a new openings feature. Lauren, I know you run your own business, and you can, or just, if you don't want to go into that,
It's
feel
okay.
free. But what do you think of this? Because you have to deal with booking appointments and things like that. So I'm curious what your thoughts are.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, I run a web design and development business called Beyond the Brand. And I don't want to go too much into it today, but essentially, what I do requires a lot of scheduling meetings and scheduling, times to meet with clients. And so there are different tools out there like Calendly, the new Fantastical calendar scheduling platform. I mean, there's so many. There's different WordPress plugins, and there's just every platform has a little something to offer and also its little quirks. So I played out with, I tried out Fantastical, and I really like it. There are a couple little quirks, as I said, that most of them do have. For example, you cannot customize your branding, and there's not a whole lot of ways that you can really customize it. It's very templated. Um, However, it is in its words are hard for me today. It is just in its first release now.
Yeah, first release, kind of
Yeah,
very beginning. So
very very beginning stages, and so I think it has a lot of room for improvement. I do like the fact that it integrates with all of my calendars and that I can check and go back and forth between clients a little bit more seamlessly with Fantastical. I just wish that they had a little bit more customization.
right, and you know, uh, if you want to hear more about this in detail, Michael Babcock and Damasi do a great discussion about this on the DM series DM 88. I think it's 88. If I have that wrong, I'm sure Taylor will let me know in chat.
We'll put it
Um,
somewhere.
yeah,
Otherwise,
yeah, we'll have it in show notes when the show comes available, and it's really awesome uh, that they talk about that because they kind of go into detail because they talk about how they schedule things and kind of the differences between Calendly Pro and some of the limitations that Fantastical has. In fact, one thing is that I'm trying to remember the thing, but you cannot in the Fantastical version yet. You cannot block off time where bookings are not allowed.
yes, that is a limitation um, that they do need to work on. However, you can specify which calendars, I believe you can. You can
Mm-hmm.
specify which calendars it looks at. So
Mm-hmm.
if you have a calendar that you're putting your main schedule on, but you don't necessarily want it to check that calendar or vice versa, you can pick which calendars it checks.
Yeah, and you can just block off time on your own calendar, make an appointment for yourself, and therefore it will not book that time slot. So that's
Yep.
kind of neat. And one of the things, though, that I do like, and I don't know if this is in Calendly, but you can approve meetings as well. So you can approve when when somebody books an appointment, you can say I approve this time before it gets booked.
Yeah, so I don't think that Calendly has it, and correct me if I'm wrong. I've always used the free version. It's been way more than I need. um, but yes, I do like the way that I can approve a Fantastical event because oftentimes with the free version of Calendly, I'd get an email that says so and so has scheduled a time with you, and I'm a little caught off guard. So it's nice that I can set it up to where I have to approve those meetings.
Yeah, and I think that's really cool. And again, this is a version 1 product and it's pretty accessible. I mean, people are using it. So good on Fantastical.
Yeah, I've used it a couple times. I've played back and forth with it with a couple people that I knew and trusted, and I think it's a good product. I think they have a lot of room to grow, but I think the power that it has and the functionality that it has is perfect, especially if you are a small business or you're just someone with a good social life and you want to just use this tool and use it to schedule your events.
Yeah, and um you do have to have a Fantastical subscription, but the neat thing is if you do, you get that, you get the openings feature, you get Fantastical, which has natural language input, and you also get card hop. So you can manage your contacts and move them between accounts without any effort at all. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah,
So yeah, good stuff. And that
love it.
works for all the platforms: iOS, Mac OS. I don't think there's a if you want to do it on Windows, it does integrate with Outlook, and there's a website you can go to do other features, but they do not have a Windows program.
iOS, Mac OS, all the Apple products.
Mm-hmm. iPad OS.
iPad OS. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I'm really excited about it. I think it's a great product. I don't know if it's available for Android or not.
I don't think so. I know that Android users can schedule events, but I don't think that they can actually
Yeah.
use Fantastical.
And I think we do need to point out that the way that people schedule events is they're sent a link or they find a link online where they can schedule events for your calendar. So it is based on a link that is sent to the person or that they find somewhere else. So that's an important detail.
Yeah, I mean, and it's pretty accessible. It does have a couple, maybe not issues, but things that could be improved. But it's pretty easy to use. It's a very clean interface. Fantastical has to make sure they have their big logo in the top left. But yeah, I mean, it's a really good product so far. Not
Yeah.
product,
So
whatever it is.
it's really cool. So check it out. It's one of the neater tech things that have come out this year, in my opinion. Um, another thing, another cool thing, and if we can convince uh, uh, the wonderful Taylor over there that I know is listening to the other room because I can hear the YouTube feed, um, to do this, I think it would be neat to have a demo cast of this next thing I want to talk about, and that's a program for Mac called VOCR. And she was able to set up a virtual machine in Parallels, which is fairly inaccessible, using VOCR. And she just did a stream on the Techopolis channel of doing that. She's still working out a few kinks, but with the VM, but that has nothing to do with the fact that it made the Parallels application fairly accessible. So that's pretty exciting. And so I think it'd be neat if we can do a demo cast on the iACast network showing, maybe 5-10 minutes on how that works. So I think that's pretty exciting.
Everyone tweet Taylor for a demo cast. No, I'm kidding. Don't do that.
But no, it's really cool. I got to hear the stream, and if you're not on the Techopolis YouTube, you should subscribe. And if you're listening to our podcast on YouTube, just look at the chat. Taylor chatted us on the show using the Techopolis account, so go subscribe. We have 105 subscribers, so it's really cool, really good stuff.
Yeah, we love seeing the Techopolis community grow and all of our other communities that we've kind of
Right.
built. It's really cool seeing everyone kind of come together and grow. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
And that kind of brings me to our kind of the next part of the discussion I'd like to have, and that's why iACast? Why are we back, and doing more episodes more often? And I will just be honest with you, folks. I was going through and looking at old iACast episodes, being nostalgic, and I was in Pinecast, and I saw, wow, there really are people that listen to this show.
I know, it was so cool. I mean, it was just
Like,
amazing to see like how I don't know, so how involved everyone has become.
mm-hmm. And we have, I was seeing, even when we stopped doing as many episodes, there was still 250 of you guys downloading our episodes. And we had episodes last year that went up to over 500 views. That's incredible.
That is
And
incredible.
so we're trying to get this community back. We want to bring engagement. So we really appreciate people staying subscribed and staying, enjoying the podcast. So we're going to, have more content. We're going to be back more and have more unbox casts and demo casts. In fact, I might. We did an unboxing of the Roomba J7 Plus, and we may bring that as an unbox cast to the network. So that will be pretty exciting as well. We did that all on video on YouTube, but I think that would be very useful as an unbox cast. So
I think so.
yeah, the video wasn't the greatest, but the audio was pretty good. So we are going to do that.
Yeah, and if you guys have podcast ideas in the future, things that you want us to talk about, let us know in the comments or let us know somewhere online.
Yep. And Taylor says she thinks we can make that happen. So awesome stuff. So really cool, folks. This, the iACast network has been around since 2015, and it's not going anywhere. We've been doing this for it'll be 7 years in September.
Really? That's crazy.
Yes.
That's amazing.
7 years in September. And we're going to try to get new voices on here, people that have been on the show before. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
So, and I really like that we moved to YouTube instead of iACast. It allows us to get push notifications to people when we post, and we may look at doing both a simulcast to YouTube and iACast. And the reason why I say that is because we're going to, at some point this year, when time permits, we're going to bring the iAccessibility app back. And then that way you can get push notifications and listen to the stream in app. So that way you can be a part of the listening experience when we go live for our recording. So yes, the iACast audio feed and streams will be coming back, and we will also, get this, we'll also go back to streaming the 10 latest episodes. I think people did like that. So
Very cool. That's exciting.
yep. So those are all things that you can look forward to. So, all right, let's go and talk about Samsung. And I want to start with the fact that Renee Ritchie did a video how Apple destroys, in all caps on destroys, Samsung. And he actually showed evidence that the Apple A15 Bionic chip, I think that's the right, yeah, I think it's A15.
With that,
Say again?
we'll go with that.
The latest one in the iPhone 13, that chip, whatever it's called, is still faster than the Snapdragon processor that Samsung used in their Galaxy S22 and S22 Ultra. Now, that's incredible, considering that they're using, Samsung's using a 4 nanometer process to make these chips. I mean, I know those are marketing terms, but, it's supposed to be newer, later, and latest and greatest, and it still falls behind the Apple chip.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. One of the things that people are saying about the Samsung phone, the S22 and the S22 Ultra, is it has way too many camera holes. Like,
Yeah, I was just joking with Michael. It's like the cameras are spying on you.
like there's a part in the Simpsons movie where this creature runs and falls in this radioactive water and comes out with like 300 eyes or something, and Bart Simpson goes up to it and goes, jabby, jabby, jab, jab, jab. And a federal employee comes up and says, son, you poke out one more eye, that's a federal offense. And so
Yeah.
it kind of reminds me of that, because like, okay, the iPhone is starting to get pretty bad with 3 cameras in it. You could clearly see the 3 camera areas, and then you have a
Very
LiDAR
defined.
sensor, and then the flash. But Samsung has like 4 or 5 on the Ultra, and it's like, okay, I'm expecting those to blink.
Yeah. How many more do you need?
I know. Actually, one of the interesting things on the iPhone, I was working with reading some labels this morning, and the light wasn't great, and the cameras were actually messing up.
Oh, really?
So I had them enlarged. I had the magnifier app open, zoomed in, and because the light wasn't great, it was trying to focus, and so I would have it focused on the medication I was trying to read, and it would think, oh, you're not trying to look at that, you're trying to look at something through the other lens, and it would flicker away from what I was reading. And
Weird.
like it would be looking through the room, so I could tell it was jumping between lenses that it was focusing on. And so it's like, okay, sometimes AI is great, but sometimes it will get what you're trying to do completely wrong if you don't have the right lighting.
So watch the Samsung phone flip between all of its 5 different cameras.
Right, it kind of makes me think of like you see the security video footage when it switches, like you're in a building and it switches between cameras. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, and then plus it has the front-facing camera, so we're not going to give the specs because you can go online and look all that up if you want, but it does, it's an Android phone. It's running Android 12. One of the interesting things, though, is unlike Google and other handset manufacturers, they're promising 4 years of Android updates on these
That's very
devices this
cool.
year. Which, it's cool from an Android perspective, but not cool from an Apple perspective when you're used to like 6 or 7 years of updates on a
Okay,
phone,
true. Very
you
true.
know. But now, one thing I will say with that camera setup being what it is and being crazy with that on the Ultra, one thing that I will give Samsung is their cameras are top notch on their phones
Yes.
because what they do is they take their camera technology from their actual point and shoot digital cameras and they put that in their phones, which is really cool. You
Hmm.
know, they've always had really good cameras in their phones. The problem is, when you get so many of them, you don't know how it's going to work. And one of the things that they're doing this year that's different from other years, they've just relied on megapixels in the past. But this year they've gone the Apple and Google approach and they've added the AI component as well. So I'm kind of curious how that's going to affect their camera quality, if it's going to make it better or worse, or if it's going to make it even better than Apple or Google. Because Google really had the market on AI photography for a long time, even better
Hmm.
than Apple in the Pixel phones.
Yeah, I'm really curious about this. I would love to get my hands on one and play around with some photography.
Yeah, I mean it's really interesting. We're so I know me, I'm so far in the Apple world that it's like, um, you know, I'd love to just play with that stuff, but
Yeah, for sure. I'm really intrigued by, and of course, all the devices are going off. Um, I'm really intrigued by, like a lot of us blind people, we will use a lot of these cameras to zoom in on things and make things bigger, or even macro photography and things like that. So I'm really curious to see like how much more advanced this one is with its 5 cameras compared to the rest of the phones. That'll be
right.
really interesting.
And I have also heard that there is a 5G radio band that's being used in these that is different from or additional to the other 5G bands as well. I'm no expert on 5G, so I'm not going to really touch that, but people can again look that up online.
Mhm.
Um, but it's interesting that they're adding all of these things to this phone. Samsung has always kind of pushed the limits on what phones can do, and that even if it's to their detriment or if it's explosive, it doesn't really matter to them. They just kind of do it. I'm referencing, of course, the Note 7,
Mhm.
but they have the folds, the flips, and all the other phones now, the Notes. And this one does also work with the S Pen. I feel like that's a big focus for them is that pen support on a phone screen. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I feel
so
like it has so many uses, so many things that it can do with it.
mm-hmm.
Um, I'm curious to see what its primary focus is going to be on, what people primarily use it for.
But that kind of brings up another part of this that I didn't plan on talking about, but just came to mind
Mhm.
is Android 12 and its lack of, believe it or not, customization. Um, Google introduced in Android 12 this new thing called Material U. And what that is it's a new redesign of the entire Android user interface where um, Android will adapt its user interface based on your background and preferences. So
Interesting.
it kind of works more like macOS and iOS that way. But that also means that a lot of the customization in the operating system has been taken out because why do you need it? You just change your wallpaper or change your app icons or different things like that. So different users, sighted users, are saying, I'm just going to get a new launcher because I don't like what Android's doing with Material U because I can't
Yeah.
customize. Like all the stuff in the settings app are gone that I used to use for customization in Android 11 below. So it's kind of interesting.
I,
Usually Android's known as the most customizable OS.
yeah, I feel like that's what attracts a lot of people to Android is the customization. And so for them to kind of take that away, I feel like that's going to kind of be to their detriment. And maybe that's controversial, but you know.
Yeah, but I mean, now people are going to go back to rooting their phones again,
Hmm.
and I'm not going to do that. But um, I don't customize my phone that much. But some people like their lock screen to have like snowflakes falling down their
Yeah.
lock screen or their home screen.
Some people get really creative with how they customize their phones. I mean, a lot of people, their phone is literally their life. So the more they
Right,
can customize it to match their personal style, the better. And yeah, I see a lot of people turning to other launchers and turning to other ways of customization because, I mean, that was a huge attraction for a lot of Android people.
right. Um, going back to the Samsung, I do not think that I don't know what the sizes are. I think maybe 256 may be the biggest. They don't have as big a sizes of drives on those devices as Apple does.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's interesting because they want people to use like the Samsung Cloud and all those things, which now that I mention it, there is no Samsung Cloud. It has been replaced by Microsoft OneDrive
Oh, interesting. I did not
because
know this.
yes, Samsung has a partnership with Microsoft, and before they shut down, Microsoft was selling Samsung phones in their physical stores.
Hmm.
So now they have OneDrive as their cloud and photo storage. So it's interesting, how that's going.
So did S Cloud just merge into OneDrive?
I don't know how they did it, or if they just migrated people over, or had them create Microsoft accounts, and then it would just move it for you. I'm not sure how that worked,
Interesting.
but I think when it comes to Android, if I were to buy a phone, it would be a tie between Google and Samsung these days. And Samsung now integrates TalkBack into its screen reader. I think they still have their own flavor of TalkBack, but I think that their voice assistant is based off TalkBack. And
Yeah, it's very similar. It's definitely not the same, but it's definitely very similar.
I know the one other thing that I have an issue with Samsung is you have to wait. I don't know if they've changed this in the S21, S22, but you do have to wait for new phones to get accessibility features. At least that's
Yeah.
how it was in previous versions.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that I hated seeing was you have to turn off your accessibility features to use this part of the Samsung experience. So
Yes. And
that's
that
why.
was one of the reasons why back when I had a Samsung, I switched back to Apple. Is because things just weren't working out anymore accessibility wise.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's why I use for my Android phone, I prefer Pixels because of their accessibility and how well they work. And well, for another thing, I don't know that you can get the Android betas on Samsung phones, and I like to be able to install the beta before it comes out.
Oh,
I now they may have changed that, so I don't want to be saying something and that's not the case. But in the past, that was the case.
this is a Let's Be Raid Samsung episode.
Yeah, well, we run Apple over the coals, and
Oh,
you know
yes.
other companies as well. So, um, it's you know, uh, and don't get me wrong, Samsung makes good devices. They do.
They do. Yeah.
I mean, Lauren and I both have a device called the Patriot Viewpoint, and it uses a Samsung Galaxy S8, an old phone, to
Yeah.
magnify our environment.
And the camera is still crazy good on it.
Yes, it is.
It's still
Yes, it
really good.
is. Now, I don't know how they would make the Patriot with all those camera holes on the S22.
Oh, that would be really interesting to see.
Hmm. I wonder if they even make a Gear VR that supports that.
Hey, let us know in the comments if
Right.
you know.
And it's interesting because if you remember, the S7 and S8 had a giant camera sensor,
Yeah, I remember
whereas
that.
now they just have very small camera sensors like iPhones and others.
Hmm.
So that's really, really interesting.
Yeah, definitely. I'm really intrigued by that.
But now I also don't condone Google's implementation either. They have a camera bar, which is like this black strip on the back of the phone where they have the
Uh-huh.
different cameras. And what I always say to that is it's hard for somebody that's blind or visually impaired to know where to aim their phone
Yes.
because there's no focal point for you to kind of gauge by. Like on the iPhone, top right, you know that's where your camera area is. So you can aim based on that. But
Yeah.
where you have the Google Pixel, you don't really know.
Yeah, not only that, but with the iPhone, you can really feel the cameras and you can tell kind of where they're at. And so it's easier to, point at what you're trying to film. And that was one of my biggest gripes when I had my Pixel was, where's my camera?
Now, interestingly, the original iPhone, the camera was actually flush with the case, and that was just wonderful. I would not have an issue with Apple making the cameras flush again and just making a thicker phone would put more battery.
I agree with
But
you.
but they don't. People don't mind the camera bumps. Although I feel like that gets cameras broken easier by having
It
that big
does.
bump. So
And this is why you need a good thick case, people.
yeah, don't be like Michael. Although I've got to go to Apple because somehow my phone has a hairline crack in the screen that's just straight across, very tiny, but it's there. And of course, I notice it. You can't see it, but I notice it.
My
I never,
question to you is, do you have Apple Care?
yes, I do. But I've never dropped this phone. I've never dropped this phone at all, and it's just there.
Interesting.
Yeah. So I have no clue how that got there.
Very interesting.
Yeah, indeed. So, um, yeah, it's interesting, and I will always be an Apple user. I mean, Samsung is neat, but I couldn't switch away from my iPhone. I
No,
love
I'm
it.
the same way. I love, 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 love Apple. I do have my gripes with it. That's another, topic for another time. But
Oh, you broke up a bit.
so yeah,
You broke up some. Can you
I
do your
will
last
repeat that.
statement again?
Yeah.
Uh
Crap.
oh.
Yeah, I have a couple gripes. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I mean, I have a couple gripes with Apple. That's a whole nother episode. But overall, I love Apple. I will stick with Apple. Apple's kind of my.
Lauren's internet seems to be going out, folks.
Can you hear me?
Now I can.
What the heck? What did you not hear?
I you got through the whole. It can be. It's another episode, but you'll stick with Apple, and then it stopped. Just
Okay.
like a hard stop, just like click.
Yeah. So I'll try this again for the third time. Um, yeah, I think Apple is great overall. I have a couple, um, issues with Apple, a couple, things that kind of annoy me a little bit, but I guess that's another topic for another episode.
Yep. So, I think this is a good point to go ahead and wrap up today. But as we always do on this podcast, we always have a pick of the week, and we do contact info. So, did I catch you off guard, Lauren, or do you actually have a pick for this week?
You caught me off guard. You want to go first?
Nope, I always go last. So, on the spot.
Okay. Um, uh, Give me a minute.
Well, I mean, we talked about one of the things that you're using now, so you could pick that if you want. The openings.
Yeah, okay, that works. Yeah, so my pick for this week is Fantastical. I love the fact that it allows me to schedule appointments now with the openings, and I love especially the fact that it integrates with all of my things, all of my calendars, my Todoist, my Google Calendar. It is literally my one-stop shop for productivity and planning. I use it every single day of every single week, and it is kind of um, my guide to life. So yeah,
Okay, and where can people find you online?
I'm kind of everywhere. You can find me on Twitter at LaurenFlenner10. You can find me on Instagram, and I don't know my handle. I think it's at Lauren Flenner, maybe. Um, you can also find you can email me at Lauren at beyondthebrand.dev. That is my business email. And I think that's about it. You can find me producing content for accessibility.
Yep. All right, and real quick before we continue, we do have a message in the chat, and we have a chatter that says, "Hello, how's everybody doing? We are great, and we're glad that you came to listen to us. We're wrapping up, but you'll be able to catch the stream because we keep it up. So check it out, and we will, obviously be back in 2 weeks again.
Yeah.
So for me, the reason why I didn't go first too is because I'm also on the spot because I haven't thought of anything. Um, so
That's on you.
what is Michael going to pick? Well, there's so many things. Um, a bunch of different apps, a lot of different things I've been playing with. That's the thing about technology. There's so many things, and yeah, I get to play with that all the time. But I'm thinking I'm going to be picking something else, and I until Lauren just made me lose my train of thought. I was coming up with something and lost it. So thank you, Lauren. That's awesome. Thank you. So what was it? The thing I was thinking of? Okay, I know what I'm going to pick. And it's actually a movie. I'm going to go with a movie this time. So everybody knows I'm a huge fan of the Marvel Comics franchises and things like that. I just a few weeks ago watched The Eternals. And it's a very cool movie if you like mythology and stories like that. It's really cool, very cosmic, very interesting. It kind of adds more to the Marvel universe. The Eternals are beings that have been on Earth for thousands of years, and they're basically robots sent to guide people to intelligence and bring them for the Celestials to, for their use. And so I'm not going to give any more away. And so, if it's very Marvel Comics ish, if you are in the comic book universe, you'll know a lot of the stories. But it's very cool, and to see what they do. A lot of big actors and actresses in that movie. So it's on Disney Plus, and you can buy it on iTunes. So check it out. There's loads of other Marvel movies coming out here pretty soon. So I'm pretty excited about that. As for where you could find me online, see, I finally came out with a pick. As for where you could find me online, you could find me producing content for iAccessibility. You can email me at my new email address. I need to actually no, the other one's still working. So you can email me at Mike Doise. That's MikeDoise at iAccessibility.net. I'm Mike Doise on Twitter and Michael Doise on Facebook. You can find me all over the place online and in different places. So just look me up, and you could find me producing content always for iAccessibility and loads of new content this year. We're going to try to see about getting up to episode 200 this year.
That would be awesome.
That's going to be exciting, and it's going to be great. We should have been there last year, the year before, but we haven't been producing as many episodes. So that's going to change, and so I'm so glad to have you all with us this time. So thanks again, everybody, for joining us, and we will see you next time on another iACast episode. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.